to license it.
Meep meep.
Hi everybody, and a warm welcome back to Maple Leaf Matchbox Makeovers. I'm Andrew, and on the bench today is a 1:64 scale Matchbox Superfast Lincoln Continental Mark V. It's number 28 in the series. This is from the era when cars were the same size as boats, and I love it. It had a short production run by Matchbox from 1979 to 1981, and only in the red and white that you see here. It made a reappearance in 1991 in yellow. As always, for a car this age, the paint is chipped, the wheels are worn out, and it's in need of a total makeover. Stay tuned for a complete respray and a wheel swap and some interior upgrades along the way. I've made it my habit to include a clip of every step in the makeover in my videos. Of course, it's your choice to watch the whole thing or to fast forward right through to the final reveal. Personally, I like to see all the detail work when I watch someone else's uploads, but I understand that drilling posts and working with a Dremel tool looks about the same on each different car. A steel wool rub down gets a big yawn, whether it's the first time you see it or the 40th time. But if you're new to the hobby, you might be interested to see what I'm doing. At least that's how I learn. Good old YouTube University. There's a steel base on this Continental, which I always am pleased to work with. A basic interior, and we are going to say goodbye to that steering wheel at one point. It's a bit of a letdown. And most interesting, the coupe top clips in the back in these two holes, and it's fastened to the windshield with a couple of posts on the inside, but it comes apart real easily. Those are all the parts I have to work with today. I have switched from a 4mm drill bit to a number 2 to drill out the posts and prepare them to take an M2 screw, which we need to put it back together at the end, but it's here at the beginning that I do a test fit to make sure any faults or problems are worked out before we get to the paint and the clear coat. That would be hard to work on later. And we're off to a good start. I like to dip my cars into the paint stripping gel instead of pouring the gel on top of the car. I think it's just a little more economical and uses just the amount that I need. So I'll close it into this little dollar store box and let science go to work while I take off the old wheels by cutting through the very thin axles. I save all the wheels and old rears and windshields that never make it to the final cut because you need to have a good boneyard of spare parts, and you never know. But in this case, I've got a pair of green light wheels that are going to be swapped out. Here's my latest eBay haul, and I've got some nice cars to show you without doing a separate video on these. I'll just lay them out on my work mat here. And would you believe that's my very first Batmobile? Some guys have those. That's my first one. About 30 minutes has gone by, and that was plenty of time for the paint stripping gel to do its work, and it slides right off. But I do it in a little dish of hot soapy water, just the work area clean. Speaking of which, everything gets a good scrub. Now, all of these parts are going to get some kind of extra application of paint or strip down or polish, so really this is just sanitary. It's a 41-year-old model, and I don't know where it's been or who's handled it, and in these days you can't be too cautious, so everything gets a good scrubbing here as a preliminary step for what's to come. As always, the plastic windshield gets some extra attention with some wet dry sandpaper to take off any scratches, any fogginess, any imperfections. And to ensure that it looks brand new, a quick dip into the Pledge Revive It. This is a clear floor polish. I get a little extra shine, and because this is going to be a gift and a toy for someone else to play with, that gives it guaranteed good long extra life. The Continental Mark V was a personal luxury coupe that was marketed by the Lincoln division of Ford Motor Company from the 1977 to 1979 model years in North America. The fourth generation Mark series, the Mark V, was derived from its Continental Mark IV predecessor, and it brought an extensive update to the interior and exterior designs. While only sold for 3 years, the Mark V is the best-selling generation of the Mark series, with 228,262 cars produced. It would be a rare sighting in Switzerland to see one of these because of the size of them, and of course these are old gas guzzlers. Here I'm switching from the wire brush Dremel attachment to a Scotch-Brite type attachment, and you'll see that the application of this changes the finish again, and really it takes the finest scratches out and a little more shine. If you haven't tried this, I really recommend you use this. These all came in a bag from China. I think I got 50 of them. And here especially you'll see the difference that the Scotch-Brite attachment makes. I'm working on the front grille here, and I want to get a really nice looking shine. There's still a couple of pimples on the hood. Did you see that? So my needle files come out, they're diamond files, and a little bit of steel wool really only takes a moment, and those blisters and imperfections are gone. And it's time for a cleanup on aisle 5. I like to keep a clean workstation, so that brush is one of my best tools. Hey, it's another eBay haul. I've been busy online. There's some fantasy cars in the back row, not my favorite. A Superbird, couple pickup trucks, a Viper, 2 Ferraris, and look at this front row, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Corvettes. That was a good score. Pretty cheap over here too. Those, I think, were mostly all Hot Wheels, which is fairly rare in Europe to get an all Hot Wheel haul. I've experimented with some different polishes and compounds, and this is the good old turtle wax polishing compound that goes on and the buffing attachment on the Dremel tool. Pretty low speed here, but I worked that around. It actually turns black first and then polishes off very well, but I always give it a final rub down just to get that coating that I want. Looking nice. What? It's eBay haul number 3. Those are 4 Schucos in the front. They're little. Couple of minis. More Corvettes. The Corvette box is filling up. Quite seriously, our Switzerland COVID numbers are escalating and have reached a critical rate. And although a lockdown has not yet been called for, I expect that will happen this week. And last spring, when it happened, we were 3 months with closed borders in stores and restaurants, etc. And I actually ran out of cars to work on. So some people stock up their refrigerator and pantry. I've loaded up on hobby cars, so I'll be able to be busy. And I got a new spray booth. Also, in case the borders close down and I can't get across to Germany where my international mail depot is. So I'm comfortably set up here now, and in the spray booth I'm going to apply some of this Tamiya Clear Red. It's a very, very fine paint, and so I'm quite careful to give it a very light tack coat first. And here you're seeing coat number 2 or 3 being applied with some adequate drying time in between. And it's a very nice looking finish. As I said, I was not pleased with the steering wheel in this interior, so I went hunting in the Boneyard box, and this is a no-name, made in China, and that's what I want inside. Kind of a nice looking steering wheel, and this one was just screwed together, so it was easy to pop apart. Isn't that much nicer? Scalpel knife slices that right off, and off comes the original. Touch of the super glue, and I just need to hold that in place for a moment with my thumb. Voila. I have changed the exterior color slightly from the original red to this more high gloss red, but I'm keeping the same color on the coupe top. It's just a fresh coat of paint, and I matched it very well when I had to mix my own. And I've decided to make the interior the same color as the top. And that was out of necessity because I had a gray steering wheel on the tan body. This is the underneath of the interior, and it was a very good viewer tip 4 or 5 cars ago, and someone pointed out that when you look at the car from underneath, if there's a large wheel well, it really ought to be blacked out and not the color of the interior, and that is sort of creating an invisibility. So that's what I'm doing. That's just the back half of the bottom of the interior. I punched my pen down on this plastic bottle lid that I use as a paint tray, and I'm applying this with a very fine brush to get a nice gleam. Do a little internet research. I was interested to see what the front lights and the tail lights look like in reality. And I'm trying this technique again. Instead of painting chrome on, which I find difficult when it's this micro small, I'm scraping the spray layer off. Did this a little while ago with some good results, and you're seeing my first attack at it here, and in the interest of time, I'll just show you this first sort of swipe over. See that? Come right off. And it leaves some red in between and removes the chrome. Now this is the front. And I find I can be much more razor sharp and square corners and angles when I do it this way. It'll take a little touch up. And I'll go at this again. Same technique on the door handles. And also on these vents on the front. Time to put everything back together. I've attached the windshield to the roof. It clips in at the back as well as the front from underneath. That was kind of tricky, but I managed that without any scratches or paint chips. I was pleased. The interior sets in freely, and it will be held in place by the base, which is held in place by the pre-test fitted screws. And I can't say that the Continental Mark V gave me any real troubles. It was a pretty easy build. Let's have a closer look. I like the wheel swap. I think that's much more suitable for this model car in the late 70s, early 80s. Fresh paint on the top. And there's the shine on that nice Tamiya clear red paint. And some clear coat, of course. I even scraped off the Continental letters on the spare tire cover on the back. Well, there's the 41-year-old play-worn model. The front looked really grungy. And now it's ready for Main Street again. If you enjoyed this Lincoln Continental makeover, give it a thumbs up, won't you? And become a new subscriber to my channel. I welcome your respectful comments, and I promise to answer each one of them. Come on back again real soon. It's coffee time.